Last month, I told you that Miami's housing market had just flipped. Sales had surged 42%, inventory compressed from 8 months to 5 months of inventory. I said that buyers' window was closing fast, and then April happened. Something pulled back, something paused, and the data just told us why. What's up, everybody? Jake Fletcher here, real estate advisor and team lead with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, right here in beautiful Miami, Florida. And every month I pull the freshest MLS data for you guys the moment that it drops. No fluff, no spin. And I tell you exactly what is happening in the Miami-Dade and South Florida housing market. So if you watched last month's video, then you know that I was bullish. And the spring market, March, came in with a breakout month, and I told you that the spring surge was real. And April just kind of made me eat my words a little bit. Maybe I was being a little optimistic. Not all of my words, but enough of them that we need to recalibrate. So today we're going to be breaking down the full April 2026 data for Miami-Dade, single-family homes, sales, listings, inventory, expireds, pricing, everything you need to know. And I'll tell you exactly what changed, what didn't change, and what buyers and sellers should be doing right now. So if you want to talk through your specific situation, the link to book a strategy call with me is down below in the description. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So let's start off with the pipeline, sales and new listings. And I want to show you the 5-year chart this month because the context matters more than the headline number. Sales pulled back to 1,046 single-family homes closed in April. That's down 7.5% from 1,131 in March. Now, year over year, we're actually up 3.5% from 1,011 sales last April. So we're growing, not shrinking annually, but the month-over-month pullback is real. And here's the context that really matters most. Look at the past 4 Aprils on this chart with me. April 2023 came in at 1,056 sales. April 2024, 1,138. April 2025, 1,011. And then April 2026, 1,046. So 4 years in a row now, Miami-Dade's April sales have landed in this sort of tight range between 1,011 and 1,138, plus or minus 6% or so. So that's not a coincidence. That's a market that has found its floor. But the problem this month, March was the breakout that we needed to confirm spring momentum, and April was supposed to keep climbing, but instead we pulled back. So that tells me that buyers are still really hesitant, okay? They're not chasing the recovery the way I expected them to. They're still being very prudent with their purchasing, okay? Now let's look at new listings. 1,655 new homes hit the market in April, down 2.2% from 1,693 in March. And year over year, we are down 13.4% from 1,911 last April. So new supply is shrinking too, and that tells me that sellers are also hesitant. Most of them are watching, not listing. Buyers are, getting cautious, and sellers are also cautious. So both sides have gotten cautious at the same time. So here's the uncomfortable truth that comes with that. If buyers are hoping for a big price correction, the seller hesitance just threw an ice bucket on that hope. Sellers aren't tripping over themselves to dump inventory. They're holding. So next up, let's talk about active listings and months of inventory. Active supply came in at 5,652 homes in April, down 3.9% from 5,884 in March. And year over year, we're down 13.4% from 6,529 last April. So inventory is continuing to compress. We're down nearly 900 listings from where we were a year ago. So that's a real sustained tightening of supply. But the numbers that really matter here are the months of inventory. 2 months in a row at 5 months of inventory. March was 5 months, April was 5, and let me put 5 months of inventory into context for you guys here, because this is the entire story right now. 1 to 3 months is a seller's market. Sellers hold the leverage. 4 to 6 months is a balanced market, negotiating power is shared, and then 7+ months of inventory is a buyer's market. Buyers hold the cards. So 5 months of inventory is dead in the middle of a balanced market. And here's why this matters so much, guys, in this market. For 18 straight months, the October 2024 through February 2026 Miami-Dade single-family home market was in a buyer's market territory between 6 and 9 months, okay? That's 18 straight months again, guys, was in a buyer's market. So we're not there anymore, okay? We haven't been there since February, but we're also not in a seller's market either. We're precisely balanced, okay? What that means for buyers is that you still have negotiating power. Sellers aren't getting their full asking price. Concessions are definitely still on the table, especially if we're talking about a listing that started as overpriced. But the days of dictating terms as a buyer, well, you know, they're kind of behind you. You're not gonna be able to go in there and swing around as much weight as you could have before. What that means for sellers is that you're not in a dead market. Demand is still showing up, sales are still happening, but you can't list at fantasy prices and expect to win. This is balance, and balance rewards preparation and punishes improvisation for both sides, okay? So now on to the failure versus flex portion of the video, as we've got this nice little lagoon behind me here. And this is the expireds and close price to original price ratio. So expireds came in at 1,582 listings that failed to sell in April. That's down 7.4% from 1,708 in March. That is encouraging, honestly, but year over year, we're up 3% from 1,536 last April. And here's the context that most agents won't give you. 1,582 is the highest April expired count we've seen since 1614 expireds in April of 2022. That's 4 years ago, okay? That was during the post-pandemic peak chaos. So we're now back to expired listing levels that we haven't seen since the very top of the market. Almost 1,600 listings expired without a sale in April. So the translation is that buyers are picky, buyers have time, and overpriced homes still don't sell, even in a balanced market. Now the close price to original price ratio, April came in at 95.2%, down just slightly from 95.3% in March, and down 0.4 of a point from 95.6% last April. So not a lot to report there, but here's the context. Back in January, this ratio was at 93.6%. So sellers were getting much less of their asking price than February, jumped up to 94.3%. March hit 95.3, and we saw real momentum building for sellers. So April's momentum is kind of stalled. We basically held flat month over month. And what that tells me is that the steam for sellers that were building in February and March let off a little bit this month. So we're stuck in the low 95s. Neither side is winning in the negotiation right now, clearly over the other. And again, that lines up perfectly with the balanced market thesis. So sellers, you can't push too hard. Buyers, you can't lowball too aggressively and expect to win either. But, both sides really need to be extra prepared, extra strategic, and extra realistic this spring. Lastly, we have the bottom line here, which is median days on market and median price. Median cumulative days on market came in at 59 days in April, down 6 days from 65 in March. So things are speeding up this spring. Homes are moving faster than they were a month ago. Year over year, we're actually up 9 days from 50 days on market last April. So the pace is improving month over month, but still slower than this time last year, which makes sense given that everything else that we've seen, sales are running below last year's pace, inventory has held steady, buyers are taking their time, and in a balanced market, honestly, that's expected. So now on to the juiciest bit, median price. And this is the headline that you probably won't see anywhere else, to be honest, but it's the most important number in the entire report. April came in at $670,000, 2 months in a row at exactly $670,000. March was $670,000, April is $670,000. Year over year, we're actually down just a little bit, $5,000 from $675,000 last April, as we've got this cool little view over here. So that $5,000 reduction is only a 1% reduction year over year. Okay, so if you're gonna look at the 5-year chart with me here, what you'll see is that we've been bouncing around in this narrow sort of $650,000 to $675,000 band for over a year now. So since roughly March of 2025. That is a market that has found its level, okay? We tested 700,000 in January and we got rejected. We tested 650 in February and we got rejected. 670 is what this market is comfortable with right now. That's the balancing point. So prices are not crashing, prices are not surging, but after 4 years of pretty consistent appreciation from 458,500 as the median sale price in January of 2021 to $670,000 today, we're digesting, okay? We're consolidating, we're sort of, finding our level in this Miami market, and that level is being defended over and over again. So, it's gonna take a while for the market to catch up to these prices, and if you're expecting the prices to keep going up, right? Which is obviously what sellers want, not what buyers want. But here's my honest summary of the Miami single-family home market right now. Number one, spring momentum has sort of paused. Sales pulled back 7.5% month over month after a breakout March. Buyer hesitance and seller hesitance have arrived at the same time. And number two, inventory is still tightening structurally. Active listings are down 13.4% year over year. New listings are down 13.4% year over year. And the supply side keeps shrinking. So that's why prices aren't falling. Number three, we are firmly in a balanced market. 2 consecutive months at 5 months of inventory. Neither side really has the leverage here, but both sides really need to be strategic. Number four, prices have found their level. 2 months at $670,000, a year inside of the 650 to 675 band. This is where Miami-Dade single-family homes are comfortable right now. So my read on this market, if you're a buyer, you have to stop waiting for a crash. If you're still waiting for a crash, it's not coming. The supply is too tight. Sellers are holding. However, what you do still have is negotiating power, time, and selection. So use those tools, lowball within reason, get inspections, demand concessions, be patient on the right property, but know that the dream of a 20% price drop is honestly gone, okay? At least at this point in time. If you're a seller, your market is still here, but not your fantasy price. You need to price into the market, not above it. 1,582 expireds last month tells you exactly what happens when you price above where buyers are willing to transact. So get the strategy right and you will sell. Get it wrong and you will join your future friends over there in the expired listings column. So both sides, work with somebody who reads this data weekly, like yours truly, who knows your specific neighborhood cold, can guide you through a market that rewards patience and punishes ego. You have to be strategic in this market, guys. You have to work with somebody who really knows what they're doing. So if you want to talk through your specific situation, your neighborhood, your timeline, your numbers, anything that you want, the booking link is in the description down below. I work personally with every single client. This is not a team thing where I shuck you off to another person. I respond to every message. I take care of everybody who reaches out to me, especially through my YouTube channel. I love when you guys reach out to me because it lets me know that my videos are doing some good in the world. So subscribe and hit the bell if you appreciate that so that you can get the next data drop the moment that it's available. And in this balanced market, the difference between a great deal and a regret is being ready when the right one shows up. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.